דיברנו עם מי המפקד של הפטרול? מי? דיברנו עם המשטרה ואמרו פשוט תזיזו אותם כדי שאנחנו נוכל לצאת, אז אני לא מבין מה הבעיה פה.
Wait, did you catch that? A US Congressman's convoy stopped dead on a desert road by masked men with rifles. This is wild.
אבל הרגע דיברתי עם השוטר בטלפון. לא, אבל הוא אמר שהוא הולך להתעכב. אז אתם יכולים לעלות מול החמ"ל ולטפל בזה, כי אנחנו דיברנו כבר. יש פה חבר קונגרס שדיבר עם אני נדב, היי. יש פה חבר קונגרס אמריקאי.
Look at the guy in the background leaning against the truck. He's completely unbothered, while the guy with the camera is desperately trying to explain they already talked to the police. The tension here is insane. Notice how the masked individual just stands his ground? He doesn't flinch or back down when they suddenly name-drop a US member of Congress. You can hear the sheer frustration in the driver's voice when he says the police told them to just move the cars. But here's the catch. If you're a high-profile politician traveling through a highly restricted, volatile zone, shouldn't there be an official escort? It's like rolling up to a heavily guarded checkpoint completely unannounced and expecting the VIP treatment just because of who you are. The disconnect between the guys in the van and the armed locals is palpable. You have to wonder what was going through everyone's minds at this exact second. A simple miscommunication in a place like this can escalate in a heartbeat. It's a literal standoff on a dirt road, and nobody wants to blink first.
Oh, gute Sache.
מה קורה, חבר'ה?
Let's rewind a second and look at how this all started. The moment they step out of that van, the atmosphere is incredibly eerie. It's dead quiet except for the wind and the crunching of the dirt under their boots. You can see the white pickup truck positioned perfectly to block the path ahead. This wasn't a random traffic jam. This was a highly calculated barricade. See the guy in the olive shirt casually walking up? He's not rushing or shouting. It's a slow, intimidating stroll. When you're out in the middle of nowhere and your path is suddenly cut off by unmarked vehicles, your heart has to drop. It's fascinating to watch the body language here. The camera operator is moving cautiously, trying to assess the threat level without provoking a reaction. In a high-stakes environment like the West Bank, every single movement is heavily scrutinized. They are quite literally isolated in the desert, and the sheer emptiness of this road makes the whole encounter feel 10 times more claustrophobic, even though they are wide out in the open.
Know that going into a restricted military area guarded by local security forces was going to result in your entourage getting stopped?
It was not an area that was restricted by military. American Congress people had been there before. We went with
prior coordination,
sir. If I could just finish, please, because this should be an outrage to any American citizen. What happened? We were there seeing the Zanuda village, which Yanan Levy.
Now check out this footage of the delegation actually walking through the area. This completely shifts the context of the situation. Look at how exposed they are out there on that rugged terrain. You've got American politicians in suits and dress shirts trekking through a dust-covered, highly contested region. It almost looks surreal, doesn't it? The contrast between their polished, Capitol Hill appearance and the harsh, unforgiving landscape is jarring. What's really interesting is the complete lack of heavy security detail surrounding them in this specific shot. Usually, when high-level officials travel to conflict zones, you see a massive perimeter of armored vehicles and tactical teams. Here, they look like they're on a casual hike, which completely contradicts the high-threat narrative of the roadblock we just analyzed. It really makes you question the logistical planning of this entire trip. Were they trying to keep a low profile, or was this a massive oversight in basic security protocol? Either way, walking unprotected in an area known for sudden flashpoints is a massive gamble that clearly almost went very wrong.
Well, Congressman Khanna says he was detained by Israeli settlers in the West Bank last week. He is accusing the Israeli military, the IDF, of lying about the incident. The California Democrat posting, quote, Israeli settlers brandishing American-made M4s detained me and other Americans on my trip to Palestine. When the IDF arrived, they sided with the settlers and continued our detention. They made a huge mistake.
Okay, pause and read the wording on this post. Brandishing American-made M4s. That specific detail is entirely meant to stir the pot and elevate the stakes. But notice what's missing here. There's no video of anyone actually pointing a weapon or acting physically aggressive. The text paints a picture of a violent hostage situation, claiming they were detained, but the raw footage we just unpacked tells a completely different story. It looked more like a tense traffic dispute than a military capture. The strategic use of the word detained is doing a lot of heavy lifting for this narrative. If you are truly detained by a hostile military force, you aren't casually arguing with them through a rolled-down window or name-dropping your job title. You're in cuffs. It's a classic example of taking a genuinely uncomfortable, high-tension moment and wrapping it in absolute worst-case scenario language to guarantee it goes viral online. The reality on the ground rarely matches the hyperbole on the internet, and this is absolute proof of that.
IDF, though, has a different version of what went down. They released a statement that reads in part, IDF troops were dispatched to the scene, quickly dispersed the Israeli civilians, and reopened the blocked road. The IDF soldiers operating in the area did not take part in blocking that road.
Now contrast that with the official military response right here. The official statement claims troops were dispatched to disperse the civilians and reopen the road, completely denying that any soldiers took part in blocking the route. Look at the stark difference in tone. It's clinical, bureaucratic, and specifically designed to de-escalate. They are essentially calling the entire detention narrative a massive misunderstanding or an outright fabrication. But here is the fascinating part. If you go back to the body cam footage, the soldiers were standing right alongside the armed locals. It didn't look like they were actively dispersing anyone. It looked like they were simply maintaining the status quo of the roadblock. So who do you believe? The politician looking for a headline or the military looking to protect its PR image? The truth is almost always somewhere in the murky middle. It's a masterclass in how two different entities can look at the exact same dirt road and the exact same stopped van and spin two completely contradictory realities for the public to consume. Finally, look at this breakdown from another reporter. He explicitly points out the complete lack of violence or actual detention in the footage. It completely deflates the dramatic balloon. When you strip away the political titles and the dramatic captions, you're left with a very mundane reality. A van got stopped on a restricted dirt road, some words were exchanged, and everyone eventually went home safe. It's wild how easily a narrative can spiral out of control when people don't actually watch the raw footage. We live in an era where the caption is often way more powerful than the video itself. People read the claim of a military detention and immediately hit share without verifying if the visuals actually back it up. This entire sequence of events is a perfect case study in modern information warfare. Always question the caption. Always look for the unedited body cam, and never take a politician's social media post at face value without seeing the receipts for yourself. It's all about controlling the story. Hit subscribe if you want more raw breakdowns like this. Stay sharp.